Hello, Dr. Vikki Petersen here. I want to talk to you about a topic that's upsetting to me, and I'm sure to some of you it is as well, and that is childhood overweight and obesity. And why should it be upsetting? Because you're looking at young children, whether they're preteens or teens, and you're looking at a body that's never going to be healthy in many, many cases. There are some children that have gained so much weight they will never have a normal weight as adults. It's actually impossible. Obviously, the sooner we catch them, we can make changes. But some have had their fat cells increase to a degree that they will never be a normal weight. And what does that predispose them to? Already as adolescents, they can be pre-diabetic and have high blood pressure and have early stages of heart disease. Certainly that only gets worse with age, and you can add to that stroke, cancer. It's not a pretty picture. I was across the street from my clinic picking up deodorant, a mundane item, and I was in line behind a family, a mom and two children, and I think one son, the mom was overweight. The one son looked to be anywhere from 12 to 14. Probably was easily 50 pounds overweight. He had breasts. He had breast tissue that was very prominent that you could see. And then the other son was probably 5 or 6. He was definitely a normal weight, running around the store, very, very active. But the 12 to 14-year-old was kind of lumbering along. I mean, it's a lot of weight to carry around. He wasn't moving quickly. I'm sure he hates to exercise if he ever even tries to exercise. And I was just looking at this family and then thinking probably the little one is going to look like the older son in a few years because this family has bad habits. And what were they doing at the drugstore? They were each buying a big bag of candy. That's what mom was getting them. And she was, you know, it was on sale and it was 99 cents and she was making very, very sure. And I thought, that 99 cents, you know, that sale item of this horrible junk food candy is going to cost a lot more in healthcare costs and misery and pain and ill health in the future. And I mean, and here she was thinking she was getting some deal because it was on sale. And it just kind of breaks my heart, I'll be honest with you. But we don't focus on the negative. We try to focus on the positive. So what can we do? If you're an adult who's overweight, who's struggled with your weight, and you have children, what can you do? What can you do for yourself? What can you do for your children to have them not follow in this path? And I know bad habits are bad habits, and habits can be difficult to break. But they're not impossible. They just might be difficult. So let's look at some of the things we can do. Oh, a few first statistics. I'm holding on to this thing, so I might as well tell you. So childhood obesity in children, so that's 6 to 11-year-olds, has more than doubled in the past 30 years. And then adolescent overweight has more than quadrupled, 4x'd in the last 30 years. Currently, childhood obesity is, it was obesity in both. So 4x'd in adolescents and more than doubled in children. If you combine kids and adolescents, more than a third, more than 33% of them are overweight or obese. And in the obesity category, it's about 20% are obese. So, you know, not terribly far behind the adults, which is sad, and it shows that we have these habits that we need to do something about. So what are some of these habits? You know, the simplicity is it comes down to two things: activity and diet. You know, easy to say, I know, but so let's look at activity first. What if you're an adult and you hate to exercise? Okay, fine. You're an adult, you know, if you choose to never exercise, so be it. But what could you do for your children? Now, granted, they look to you as their parent for guidance and to set an example. So sometimes say as I say and not as I do, it can be a tough one. But if you absolutely refuse to exercise or you're too ill to exercise, then Be honest with your children. Say, you know what? I would love to exercise. And, well, maybe that's not honest, but go with me for a second. You can just say, here's the thing, here's the honest part. Okay, I rethought it. So you would say to your child, the reason I want you to exercise is so that you don't end up like me, because I don't feel well. And even if I wanted to exercise, I can't, because my joints hurt, because I have so much weight it's hard to carry around. I get out of breath just walking upstairs. You've maybe noticed that that happens for me. That's not normal. It shouldn't be that way, and I don't want that for you. So that could be an honest communication. You don't have to say, I'd love to exercise if you don't. But you could certainly say something like that that might impinge on the child. And so then what do you do? If you can enroll them in some classes, great. If you can't afford that, find a family friend, or there's neighbors who do like to exercise, and get them going on walks with them, or get them going to the park to play frisbee, run around the beach. I mean, even if you're sitting on the beach, if you live near water, or sitting at the park, you can, say, wow, run to that, run to the end of that area right there where that big tree is, and then come back, and I'm going to time you. Kids love games. They love to see how fast they can do things, or how much better they can do something. We used to do that with our children on the beach all the time. It's like they were so energetic and so much faster than we were. We'd go down to that dock and come back, and we'll see how long it takes you, But you can make a game out of it. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to enroll your child in expensive classes. If you have the finance, great. Do something that they're interested in. But get them active at a young age, because it feels good when your body's active, and unless you're have a physical problem and you can't. But otherwise, it does feel good, and it's a habit that you can really ingrain into your child, and then they'll like it. They really will grow to like it, just the way we're about to talk about diet with some suggestions similar to that. Okay, so let's talk about diet. Why is it that we believe that overweight and obesity is higher in African American children and Hispanic children? It's believed because of lower household income in some cases, and the fact that junky food is cheaper. This particular family in front of me online today was a Hispanic family, and not saying that's always the case, but just statistically, those are the facts. So, yeah, it's okay. So it's cheaper to go to McDonald's than to go out to a nice restaurant. Fair enough, but you could make food at home, and everybody has a computer. Most people have a smartphone. You can learn how to cook. You can learn how to cook online, and it's absolutely free. You can make these steps, and it's a lot cheaper. If you do a plant-based diet, my goodness, if you're not buying expensive meat or fish, beans and rice and vegetables can be pretty darn cheap, I guarantee it, and healthy. So yes, you're buying those vegetables, and I would prefer you get them organic. Maybe there's a farmer's market near you. Maybe there's a food co-op near you. Yeah, is this more effort than driving through the McDonald's drive-thru? It is. Is it worth it? Absolutely no doubt in my mind. So these are big changes, and we can start little to make these changes, but we do need to make them. I was talking to a mom yesterday actually in Sweden. Health Now, my clinic, is a destination clinic, so people come to see us from across the U.S. and internationally. And so she was from Sweden. Her child was newly diagnosed with diabetes, and interestingly enough, what does the child love? She loves bread, a refined carbohydrate, and of course celiac disease, or gluten sensitivity, shares the same genes. Celiac and type 1 diabetes share a common gene, so they're found together very often, and the mom knew this, and she said she can just sit down and eat slice after slice of bread. The child was only 4, and she loves sugar, and so the mom was being great and trying to get her on some green smoothies and some vegetables. And she said her daughter was asking her, "Why are you feeding me grass?" You can only imagine, right? This adorable little 4-year-old looking up at mom going, why do you want me to eat grass? So obviously has not had a lot of experience with vegetables. Anything green equals grass. But the point is, you can make the grass, the great vegetables, taste pretty good. If they're fresh and they're not overcooked, if you're putting spinach or kale in a smoothie, you can do some banana and berries to counteract the taste of those greens. Then they'll never know what's in it other than the color. You can do these things. So what I was telling this mom is like, so maybe add some extra banana. I mean, she is diabetic, so we can't do this for very long, and she has to really watch her blood sugar. But for your children, you can make it a little extra sweet with banana and berries, and then what happens is that your sweet taste gets more refined, and so then you can slowly lower down the sweet and the child won't notice it. So if you start off with something really bitter and they're not used to it and they're used to candy bars, they're going to hate it. But you can start out pretty sweet and then just sort of gradiently lower it down and they won't notice, and it's really helpful for them. You can sneak vegetables in. I like to be more overt about it and just say it's really good for you, and let's find something that you like. But you can sneak vegetables into like a tomato sauce with pasta by just pureeing them. Pureed is a great way to sneak vegetables in. You can chop it up really finely. I chop up kale very, very finely, and I put it in almost everything. And my families are adults now, and they don't care. But when they were younger, they didn't really know. There's just little flecks of green. Makes it no less great for you, the fact that it's minuscule in size. So you're still getting the benefits. Okay, what else did I want to tell you about? So I think the advent of GMOs, the refined foods, the fast foods, the heavily processed foods, the toxins in our diet, the drugs in our diet, all of these things have swept us in this tide of obesity and overweight that we feel like we can't get out of, this current that's dragging us along. But we really, really can. It's just making some changes, and you start with little changes, and then you start feeling better, and you can watch your children do better as well. And they'll do better mentally. Their self-esteem will go up. They'll have more energy. They'll do better in school. I mean, a lot of things improve when you feel better. You know that as an adult. And then, the other bad habit we get into is food as a reward. And healthy food is a great reward, and it certainly can be a source of pleasure, having a lovely meal with the family. But don't make bad food a reward. If, you do well on this test, I'll take you out for an ice cream sundae. Bad idea. That's what gets us in trouble. So, you do well on this test, and I'll take you to that movie that you wanted to see. Or we'll go to that art store and do a ceramic project or something else. Tie rewards into something else other than food. Yes, enjoy your food, but don't tie a reward into with bad food, with junk food, because then that becomes a habit too that you do as an adult. I remember one time at a seminar, I was behind a woman. I was getting some tea. I was at a big hotel, and she had this like big, pastry thing, and she was overweight. And she looked behind me and she said, "Oh, I deserve this," And I hadn't even said anything to her, but she, obviously felt that she had to justify what she was getting. She got one of those drinks with the, the whipped cream 3 inches high, and she was getting this big pastry, and she said, "Oh, I deserve this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So that's what we don't want. We don't want to start that with our children, and then it becomes a habit as an adult that when we deserve something or when we've done well, we reward ourselves with something that's going to slowly kill us, right? Bad idea. I could go on and on. Why don't you send me your questions, and I'll answer them, and I'll really try to help create a program here. But it's really, really important that we make a change, and I just wanted to give you some helpful hints that I hope will lead us on a better path toward better health for ourselves as well as our children. But it's unfair to start them on the wrong road, before they know better, and they're just sort of letting us put stuff in their mouth, and it's just not fair to get them so ill so young that they really don't have a chance to come back from that. So anyway, I hope this was informative, and until next time, I wish you very good health.